Hey, this is Matt from InvestiQuant. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2020. And this morning I was looking through the My Alerts section, and the My Alerts section is the section where you get alerted on all of the strategies that you create, the research that you do. They'll show up here in the morning ahead of the open when there is a potential setup that is going to be in play for the day. And at the open, you'll see this little yellow area, the little stoplight there, turn green when it triggers if it's true. But ahead of the open, it tells you potential trades, so you have a heads up of things that may be in play. And at the open, it actually shows you what does trigger. And as I was looking at my alerts this morning, I have one here for a doji after a gap up above the prior day high. And as of now, it does not look like we're going to be opening above the prior day high, but this was in my research as something I had found that had a decent little bias to it. But since we're not going to be opening above the prior day high without some sort of major change happening here between the time of this recording and the open, I figured what I would do is just take this exact same study of a doji and see what that looks like when it is opening and what is more likely to be a similar opening location. So let me go into symbols and setting, go ahead and add the other instruments to it. So let me add NASDAQ, Dow, and Russell. And then I'm going to go into opening filters, and since we're not likely to be opening above the prior day high, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that filter and just change it up so it's something more similar to what we're seeing this morning. And this morning it's pretty flat. At the time of this recording, we have tested lower and bounced back up just a little bit below the prior closing price. So it looks like we're going to have another quiet open. So I'm going to go ahead and use a opening filter of simply opening within 20% of the 5-day ATR from the prior closing price. Currently for the S&P, that's about 10 points, and we're within that range at the time of this recording. So I'm going to add the maximum gap size of 20% of the 5-day ATR here. I'm not going to go up or down because with it being that small of a gap, it could go either way. I have no idea which way it'll end up opening. So I'm going to add that. And that's all I'm going to add. This already has day after doji. That comes from our price pattern section here. And that's a candlestick pattern where your open and your closing price are basically the same price. And then I've already got our indicators from the indicators section was built into that study, which is below a 10 and above a 200. So let me go ahead and hit view results here. And here we go. So these are the results of going long the day after a doji candlestick. And this is taking place under a 10-day simple moving average, but above a 200-day simple moving average. And the opening filter, like I said, is based upon a fairly quiet open. So opening within 20% of the 5-day ATR from the prior close. And historically, 41 samples in the ES, 53 in the NASDAQ, 45 in the Dow, and 59 in the Russell. And you can see from the win rates and the equity curves, this is very different than had it opened above the prior day high. So we often say that here at InvestiQuant, the opening location makes a huge difference. And you can see from the pattern that we started with versus the pattern that we're looking at right now, the only thing that I changed was the opening location. And above, if we opened above the prior day high, the bias was to the long side. Opening below or opening within 20% of the 5-day ATR from the prior close. So a flat open, stats not nearly as impressive, and some of them a little bit weak even. So the S&P 44% win rate here. NASDAQ pretty neutral, around 50%. Dow a little bit weaker, 35%. And Russell a bit more neutral at 49%. So opening flat after that doji has not been bullish, whereas opening above the prior day high, assuming a similar market condition to what we're seeing now, was favoring the long side. So quite a difference there. And if we look at average win, average loss bigger than the average win here in the S&P. That's the case in the NASDAQ, the Dow, and the Russell. So all of those average losses larger than the average win. Anyway, looks like quite a different pattern depending on the opening location, which is why you should always be paying attention to that when you're doing your studies here in Discover. So hopefully you found this helpful. Good luck today, guys, and we will see you next time.